everyone, and welcome back to another one of my Glamour series videos where I show off some of the garments that I put together especially for you. Now, as a hero to the world of Final Fantasy XIV, it's expected for you to look the part, and you've got to look your best when you're going about saving the world. And today we're going to do something that's a little controversial and looking more into kind of cosplay of none other than Zenos yae Galvis. Now, I know that a lot of people have nothing but complaints for this guy, and I guess I can see where they're coming from. He does seem a little bit one-dimensional for a Final Fantasy villain, at least compared to someone like FFXIV. In truth, I never really minded Zenos too much. I mean, he was never my favorite antagonist. I always personally saw him as something as kind of like a Joker-like villain to our Batman. I mean, come on, look at him. He's someone who's completely mad and deadly, dresses like a clown, and is completely obsessed with our hero. At least that's how I see it. Anyway, I am holding out hope that we get something really clever written in with Zenos later on now that he's back in the story, but we'll just have to wait and see. While we wait for that though, I did come up with two different glamours that I put together in honor of our mad stalker Zenos. So for these two outfits, one of them is probably the closest I could find in terms of his actual armor from Stormblood, while the other is more of a inspired outfit that's probably the closest I could get to the outfit we see him wear at the end of 5.2. Anyway, let's get started. We will start off with this particular outfit, which is the Zenos inspired 5.2 outfit, and I really love how well it turned out. I also went and changed my character's hairstyle to maybe more of a Zenos look to it, and I'm honestly kind of creeped out by how similar that she looks to Zenos right now. I mean, if you're creeped out by your own handiwork of just how similar she's supposed to look to someone, then you know you did a good job. So right here we have the deep shadow coat of aiming, which can be purchased in Yulemore. And as you can see, it was left as it is, and it does have a pretty decent addition of the armor without it being that bulky mask that Zenos was wearing before. Underneath that, we have the long kilt of the last unicorn. This here is a piece that is purchased from the Wolf's Den for wolf marks. After that, I just dyed it a dark shade of red to try to match Zenos' style a little more. And I think I used the Dalamud color to kind of blend the two pieces, so it does look like one solid set. As for the hands and feet, I went ahead and used the Bone Wicca Sabatons for the feet and the Bone Wicca Gauntlets, which you can win both pieces from the Swallow's Compass. It may take a few runs for you to get the pieces that you need, but these were really close in terms of what I was really looking for, like the pointed, like fingertips and the pointed boots. Personally, I do think you can use just about any kind of armored hands or feet pieces. It can be a little bit tricky to try to find a matching pair that would match with the outfit, but these did really, really well. And finally, we're moving up to the headgear where we have the Star of Mizia, which is an item that you can get from the Mog Station, and it's really more symbolic for Zenos' third eye. As far as I know, this is really the only piece that I was able to find that kind of has like the effect of the Garlean third eye without it actually being a third eye. And looking at it all together, especially after going through all the trouble of changing her hair, it really is creepy. That is a really good imitation of him. And the more I look at it, the more disturbing it gets. So while this is clearly inspired by Zenos, it's not exactly like him, but I'm okay with that. Moving on to this next set, this is the armor that I tried so hard to match up with his Stormblood gear. And so far, I'm really pleased with it. I'm really glad of how well that it turned out. So the really big difference here is that for the chest piece, I used the Dark Divinity Herkaledi, or as you may better be aware of it, it's the chest gear from Odin or Isfant. So that kind of gives us that bulky kind of style that we were looking for, because if you look at Zenos from his Stormblood gear, it's huge. Like, it is like massive armor, like head to foot. So I did go through the trouble of changing just about everything here. The only piece that I kind of left was the star on his forehead. But as for the gloves and feet, I did matching pairs of those too from the Ratalos set. So I used the Ratalos Vimbraces for the hands and the Ratalos Greaves for the feet. And if you aren't aware of that, that's what you get from going up against Ratalos. So these aren't the dyeable pieces. I do think that they have kind of a normal version and a dyeable extreme version. So I just went for like the normal version of it though, just because it was easier and I didn't have to worry about dyeing it, because they do match. they do match really well even though they're not dyeable. As for the legs themselves, I went with the Dalmatian drape bottoms. That was probably the hardest piece to try to put together because, he's got like this ridiculous like half cape that kind of flows behind him. So I was trying to find a piece that was at least similar to that, and I did kind of miss and match this one by accident, really, and it was like, oh wait, that looks really good. So I decided to use that, and I did dye it a darker shade of red, and all in all, I think I did pretty well. I think I hit right on the mark here. So as for any kinds of jewelry, Zenos really doesn't wear jewelry. You can definitely use whatever you want for like the wrists, the hands, and maybe the necklaces because you can't really see them. For the earrings though, I would strongly recommend that you go for like the Emperor's new earrings, just to kind of make them invisible so that no one can see them, just if you really want to get that whole overall look. Now, these are gear sets that will work perfectly for both males and females, as I'm sure you can tell right here. Now, as for the jobs that you can wear with these particular pieces, the first set is for aiming only, and that's because of the deep shadow coat of aiming. As for the second gear set though, you can wear that with just about any Disciple of War job that you want. For me, I went for the samurai job because the katana is Zenos' main choice of weapon. And as you can see, I think it looks really, really cool. I think that it turned out really good. Again, I'm kind of disturbed by how closely they look. But anyway, everyone, what do you all think? Do you like these outfits? Even if you're not a Zeno fan, what do you think? Do you think that I got it spot on, or do you think that there was some room for improvement? Now, I've also been doing... This was actually kind of a challenge that was made by a new friend I made, and was like, okay, fine, challenge accepted. So I'm really glad to prove them wrong. Now I feel like I've been doing a lot of gears for aiming and scouting a lot lately, so the next video that I'm going to be doing for Glamour is going to be specifically for casting, and since I love doing the Zeno style here so much, I think that I'm going to try and do kind of an MX Silk style. Just let me know what you think about that. Anyway, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope that I'll be seeing you again real soon. Bye!